Thank you very much indeed for joining us. So obviously we want to talk about PwC Alumni Live. Actually, could I have a quick show of hands, like prior to today, who had heard of the Alumni Live event?
Oh my, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
does that surprise you?
All right, enough said. I'll see you at the
Yeah, that wasn't quite enough hands. Well, I think it's one of the reasons we want to talk about it is I often say best practice is out there, but it's not evenly distributed. And I think those of you who know about the event are probably very keen to emulate it and run something very similar. And for those who don't yet know about it, you soon will. But before we do dive into it, perhaps, Kerri, you could give us a bit of the context about the PwC Alumni Network, how old it is, its scale, its scope, strategy, and so on.
Sure. So yes, as Charlie, thanks for having me. I hope I do this justice for Sally. This is her pet project. But I have been with PwC for almost 20 years. I was actually brought in to start our alumni program, but at the time we were doing it market-based. So I was in Philadelphia, there was New York, LA. And so that's sort of when it started. So it was just a little over 20 years ago that I had actually started at the firm. And then moved around in the firm, as you mentioned, through marketing, and then they opened a national leader role about 4 years ago because it rose in priority to the firm. And so at this point, I was just asking Heather, I was trying to check some numbers, but we have about 95,000 reachable alumni. So we've got more than that, but we email and communicate with about 95,000 of them on a regular basis. And generally, our alumni are made up of, as you can imagine, because we're one of the big four accounting firms, it's a lot of accounting, a lot of finance. Over the years, that's grown. So we've got, now HR, marketing even. So our base and the skill sets of our alumni have definitely changed. But still, I mean, we look at them in a couple of ways. I was listening to the panel earlier to Bridget and Kathleen, and we are looking at our alumni. One, of course, they leave us and they go to a client. So sometimes we don't stop working with them. We just work with them in a different way. We like to say they've been promoted. They were promoted to become a client. So we look at them as they're our client, but then we also look to them as, well, maybe they want to come back. I mean, one of the great things, we'll see people leave, they learn other skills, and they come back in a different capacity, and they excel, and then maybe they become partner. So it's a very twist and turn, career path. But it's a great group of people.
Excellent, thank you. So into that context, we fly PwC Alumni Live. So let's answer the kind of the first most important question. What is it?
What is it? Yeah, so Alumni Live has become our flagship alumni event. It's really branded our program, and it has a couple of components to it. So there's an in-person piece of it where we move it around the country. So we've done New York. Last year we were in Boston. And we bring together, and we usually have, our attendance is around 250 people because we have to cap it. We've got budget, but not for 1,000. But so we cap around 250 people. It features 3 to 4 executive alumni who talk about their business or things that have shaped them, including their time at PwC, things that have shaped them in their career. And then they pass that knowledge along to help others, the others that are in attendance. So we have it in person, and the speakers are coached to do a 7 to 8 minute TED Talk-like talk. And we record the whole thing, and then we launch it as a webcast to all of our alumni. So we get a lot of legs out of it. That was part of our business case in building the ROI was, yes, this is going to be in one market, but it will reach our full alumni base. So, I mean, that's a great example of how you might be able to get a couple of uses out of the same thing.
Excellent. And so you cap the numbers, but who can join? Is it literally anyone? Is it people in that geography? Is it people who used to work in that geography? How do you look about creating your audience?
So we prioritize for this particular event. So we look at, our clients are prioritized. So we start with our priority clients and those in, say, director or above roles, sometimes manager level roles. So we prioritize those first, and we actually work with our account teams to develop this list. And we also work with our account teams to extend the invitations. I mean, we'll send them out centrally, but the account teams will reach out and follow up. And then if someone is attending from their client, then we ask a representative from the account team to attend as well. So we do have PwC in the room with our client, but they're there with our clients. And so it's a great opportunity for them to be able to spend some time with their clients outside of that day-to-day business setting. So it's been a good combination.
And to come in again at the top with a really stupid question, because I'm good at those, why do it? I mean, why exactly? What was kind of the fundamental foundational reason or reasons for creating this where there was nothing?
Yeah. So we survey our alums, we have the platform, and within our listening tools, we found the trends that our alumni want to be celebrated. They want to network, they want to know each other, and they also want to be informed. They look to us to help me in my career, whether that's technical knowledge or soft skills. So we thought, well, this sort of brings it all together. And this is where Sally came in, because we were talking about, we need something that puts us on the map as, a program that really reaches our alumni to say, hey, we're here. And so Sally said, well, hey, our UK counterparts did a great event which featured alumni as speakers. I think we can build on that. So she took it. I mean, to be honest, I just secured the resources and block and tackled anything that might get in her way, but she took it and ran and created this really spectacular, you can kind of see in the event, thank you, I have the same outfit on today. This is my travel outfit. It doesn't wrinkle. But you can see this was done at the aquarium in Boston last year. And it's really, it feels special to the people in the room.
Yeah, so speaking of people in the room, you mentioned it's webcast as well. Mm-hmm. Now, finding that balance then between, I mean, who can come to the webcast? Is that
everybody?
Absolutely everyone.
Absolutely everyone. Yep.
Yeah, and what's kind of the experiential element? Are there other experiential elements in joining from the webcast? Because obviously that's very different joining remotely from being there in person.
It is. So we offer our markets. So we had this in Boston, but we offer our markets the opportunity to do a watch party. So they can invite the alumni in their market to come to the office and watch the webcast and have some drinks or whatever time of day that they're going to do it. So they can have a more local experience. We work with the different offices to kind of provide that touch point. But it is hard because we record it, so it's not really live for the webcast. But we still give it's hard because we will get questions that come in and we'll reach out to account teams to answer those questions. So we do try to make it a holistic experience for them as well.
Yeah, I think one thing that strikes me pretty quickly is the justification for doing it. It's obviously clear. It's a lot of organisation, but there's quite a dichotomy between what I know a lot of people here will be running a lot of events. If I think, for example, Gillian at BlackRock last year kind of evangelized about events and the amount that they do, and they sort of average about one every 2 weeks. So there's kind of a difference between doing one big event, perhaps, or running lots of small events throughout the year as much as possible and doing those at a more kind of local level. Was that a choice, a very deliberate choice that you remember the team making?
We still do both. So we actually will have the small market events that continue on. But it comes to, I think we were talking a little bit in the last panel about resources. We certainly, as a team, we can't cover, the 42 markets in the US, certainly with handling all of their events. So we'll have an awareness that a market wants to do an event, and then Amanda on my team sends them a toolkit to say, okay, here you go, this is how you can do it. Here's your invitation, here's everything. You run with it. But then from the national team, we 100% focus on this event. And we lean on our local meeting and event support. We lean on the managing partner. That's the biggest thing, is we need a managing partner that's going to buy into this and drive the partners and the account teams to reach out and invite their clients. They will help us get the speakers, secure the speakers. They host a dinner the night before for the speakers. So we need a very active managing partner. We actually say that's one of our requirements, because our partners say, oh, have that in my market. We're like, all right, but you got to be in on it. You got to be willing to roll up your sleeves.
Yeah, I mean, that question, the conversation about buy-in, that's obviously something we've already touched on today, and I think is worth repeating. Before we talk about that, though, let's talk about the team that is involved, because obviously this is a big project. Organizing an event involves a lot of logistics, so I've heard. And you're obviously, I think it's probably a question in a lot of people's minds, like, well, how would we even begin to do this, and what does it involve? So could you talk us through a little bit about the size of the team involved, different departments, or different branches indeed, and how that experience went for you?
It is, and I don't want anyone intimidated. This is a large event, and it's massive, and it's complicated. It doesn't have to be. Our UK firm held their event in a room like this, and I think they actually had most people on a conference table. And it was more of like the knowledge sharing and the network. So, I mean, that was just as effective. For this event, we actually, when we built out and saw how complex it was, we actually had to form a committee because we needed buy-in from several departments in the firm. So, I mean, we sit in marketing, but we had a representative from our communications team. We also use our local meeting and events to run the on-the-ground, so find the venue, name tags, all of those pieces of it. We've got, we have a lot of coaches within the firm, so we have a coach that actually works with our speakers so that they nail that 7 to 8 minute talk. So, and then we've got the managing partner, and they have a proxy, like they have a chief of staff basically that works with us as well to be able to work with the account teams and the partners that are local in that market. So it takes a village to lift it.
Yeah, I think this most definitely leads to the question of buy-in, because that is a lot of resources and it's a lot of teams. So it's not the same as pitching an alumni program, and the benefit of alumni. It's a very specific event. So how did you go about sort of convincing the people you needed to convince to make that happen?
Yeah, so we were in the process. So for the past few years, we transformed our people strategy, and I was excited because alumni was part of that people strategy. So we started to then thread the alumni message all the way through campus recruiting. So I worked with our campus recruiting lead, and we had, alumni stories, come here, work here, and this is what you can go on to do. So in that, we capitalized that alumni was having a moment that year. We said, you know what, this would be an amazing event. And we approached the managing partner in our New York office, who is a big supporter of alumni. because you have to know there's a little bit of politicking involved in all this. You got to go find the people that are going to speak on your behalf, the people that are at the table to speak on your behalf. So we went to him and we said, look, this is the vision. And he was super excited. And so once we had his buy-in, there was like a couple ways that we could get, budget for it. And then and then our managing partner was very supportive as well, because always a PwCer was part of our people strategy. So we tied it into the firm's initiatives in order to get the buy-in and to sell it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm mindful of time, but a couple more questions I'd like to ask is about, we've heard an awful lot about sort of metrics and success and value to the organization. So what are the associated metrics around an event of this size, and what does success mean, essentially?
Yeah, so of course, being accounting consulting, like, you got to have numbers. So there's some qualitative and some quantitative when it comes to our ROI. I mean, certainly, it's great if they're saying, oh, okay, well, what was our attendance rate? How many people that registered came to the event? Okay, that's great. But for us, it's the who. So who got in the room? What level are they within the organization? And then we have pipeline and wins tied to all of those companies. So we will put out an impact report that will talk about the revenue that was in the room in having this event. So that's obviously, a big part of any of our events when they say the ROI. But the other side is really the quality. So who are the people, but also what are they saying? So we'll get, account teams emailing us afterwards saying, hey, my client had a great time and they made this connection. Or, oh, I was talking to this client, they're going to help us get to, this other buyer within the client. To talk about a project. So it's a little bit of both. And we do, when we're at the event, alumni will provide testimonials. So we will have, video in the room. And they'll give their own testimonial and their experience with not just the event even, but the full PwC network and the benefits of the PwC network. So a lot I hate when people are just say, well, how many people did you have? I'm like, no, that's not the question. Is who were they? So yeah, you always have to balance, your numbers with the things with the feels in the room.
And how it's now becoming, or possibly going to be a bit more of a fixture.
It's in demand.
How has it impacted the program generally? Has this changed your alumni program and your alumni network?
It has. There's been a prestige now associated with it, where there's kind of like a proud to be PwC moment for our alumni. So it really it did transform the program, and it's a great way for us to get out some of the other benefits of our program. I mean, we have the career site and other ways that we support alumni through their careers, CPE classes. We launched a learning and development system for alumni. So it's another vehicle for us to talk about the benefits and the value of the alumni program to the alumni. So it's been transformational for us.
Epic. Thank you very much. Now, I'd love to use our last few minutes to open it up to the room. I'm sure there are a few questions. There might still be some working microphones. So, yeah.
Great discussion. Curious specifically with the alumni who were selected to deliver the TED Talks. You alluded to a political component, which I certainly understand. And as an extension to that, other than celebrating what they've accomplished, what are the benefits for them to invest that amount of time and then to deliver a 6 to 8 minute TED Talk, which is not easy?
Yeah. So our alums that actually speak they look at as an opportunity to get their company name out there and even get themselves out there. And we've had some phenomenal speakers that people still talk about. We had one speaker, her first sentence was, I'm a PwC alum, I'm the, executive vice president of investor relations, and a 9th grade dropout. There was not, you could hear the gasp in the room. And she talked about pulling yourself up from your bootstraps and owning your life and owning your career. And these are things, to move forward. And she's very proud to tell that story. We had a CEO talk about being held at knife point because when her apartment was robbed in New York. And then she transferred that into embrace your fear and take on what you're afraid of in order to move forward. So then she was talking about her fear of, being a CEO or COO and going into a boardroom and talking to a board. That was very intimidating for her. So they love to tell their stories and they feel celebrated and they feel value in it because they're talking and they're sort of in a mentorship way to the emerging leaders in the audience who are looking to make that next step. How are they selected? So we solicit ideas from the markets, but we do a couple other things in our program where we are using alumni as speakers, sometimes recruitment events, sometimes conferences, and then we have spotlight stories where we will interview them. And we get to know, and we kind of learn, who's got the, charisma to sort of deliver a talk like this. And then we'll also lean into the local partners, because if we can get the speakers from that particular area, it makes it a little bit easier. But we'll say to them, look, this is what the expectation is. Do you think this person has the energy and the story to tell that would fit that mold? And they're very good. Our account teams, our partners are very good at understanding that.
Thank you. So we're really finding and showing off the value and power of your alumni. I think we've probably got time for one more question if there is. Yes. Just over.
Hi, Kimberly with Lazard. My question is around alumni listening. How often do you survey? What questions do you find to be most revealing and directionally helpful? And then how do you take that and credibly demonstrate action and reaction?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we actually do a global survey, and it's about every other year. We're about to launch our next one. And it's, questions about like ranking what they value and what do you want? Like what would help you from us? I mean, we always hear a resounding, we need CPE, similar to CLE. Accounting needs CPE, so we hear that. And that's really, we learn a lot. And we also, the last one we launched was coming out of COVID. And so a lot of our questions were around, are you ready to come back with people? And we did see people were not ready to be in a room full of this many people in 2021. So we do, so a lot of the questions are of the time. And I haven't seen the list for this year, and then how we sort of share with them how we're acting is we will point it out. I mean, we launched a learning and development system with this year, and we actually said, we heard you, and you left us, and you feel that where you currently are doesn't provide the learning and development that you got when you were here. So here we've got the system in place now where you can come and learn whatever you want, from AI to CPE classes. So we'll tie what we do back to that survey and specifically what we ask them.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Well, I hope, if nothing else, we've made this idea and concept eminently more stealable for all of you. We are out of time, but if you do have more questions, of course, the best place to ask them of Kerri is on Alumni Aces. That goes without saying. The second best place could be lunch. if you're still here. But ladies and gentlemen, if you could all help me thank Kerri very much indeed.